What's your earliest memory of YouTube?
When I did my first video, I remember. My first video was I played Minecraft. No one knows this, but Minecraft, it was before it wasn't as like uncool, I guess. It was when it was in alpha. I remember I don't think other people were even making videos of it back then. And I was so intrigued by the idea that you could record yourself playing games. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Like, even before, years before even YouTube was a thing, I was like, I want to record playing games. That's so cool.
And was the Minecraft experience the first time you ever did that?
And the Minecraft, because I finally got a computer that I could actually record on. So I was like, all right, this is my first time. Well, this is the first time I recorded speaking while playing.
Do you still have that video?
No, I searched everywhere for that video. So I submitted it to Machinima Respawn, and I found the email, but the Dropbox link is dead. It's a shame. I remember it so clearly. Like, I went into a cave. There was a skeleton. I did my scream or whatever because it scared me, and I thought it was so funny. I sent it to my friend, and he thought it was so funny. It was shit, guaranteed, so shit. But that was my first video, and I did it because I thought it was so weird that I didn't have any subscribers. So I thought I had to submit it somewhere else so I would get some subscribers. Does that make sense? I don't know. Because you watch everyone else on YouTube and they're always talking to their audience. I didn't have an audience.
Yeah.
Who was I making videos for? Who am I talking to in the microphone?
So who were you talking to?
I don't know. It was so weird to me. I was like, this is the weirdest thing ever. I'm alone with a microphone in a room. What the fuck is happening? Like,
And what was your Minecraft avatar?
I didn't have a Minecraft avatar. I wasn't that nerdy. No.
So you just went out into there as the standard character and...
I was Pewdie.
Oh, right.
Pewdie, yeah.
And so how far back does being Pewdie go?
About as when I started YouTube. Yeah, I started PewDiePie.
Were there other people on YouTube that you were watching in the very beginning?
Yeah, I was watching CNanners and Hutch. They were the two biggest Call of Duty guys or whatever. And I thought it was so cool talking over when you're playing a game. I really liked that idea. I never seen anyone else do it.
And have you done a lot of online gaming, talking to friends and stuff?
What do you mean?
Well, like, being on Xbox Live or whatever.
So me and my friends, the way we were social was we would go to a net cafe together. It's like, hey, let's all hang out to go to this dark room where we all just sat and stared in front of screens. But for us, that was very social because we were still sitting next to each other. We were still screaming at each other, playing games.
How old were you when you first went to a net cafe?
14, probably. I was 14.
And you had a computer in your house, but you guys just wanted to do it together?
Yeah, because obviously my parents and everyone else's parents didn't want you to play as much. So as soon as you get the stop, like, okay, you played too much, now you need to go outside. All right, we'll go outside, but we'll go to a net cafe and we'll just do the same thing, but there it's like undisturbed, fun atmosphere.
And what were the games that you really loved to play?
We would always play MOBAs, like Dota and League of Legends. I guess now it's popular.
And would there be girls there as well?
So many girls. No, there would be no girls there. What are you talking about? There was one guy that kept bringing his girlfriend there, I remember. And it was always like, what are you doing? She clearly wasn't interested at all, I remember. She just sat there like, why am I here?
So were there many conversations with your parents about the amount of gaming that you were doing and their concerns about it?
Oh yeah. I would always have to hide me playing games from my parents, definitely. Yeah.
Is there like, do you ever bring those conversations up with them again these days?
Yeah, we kind of joke about it a little bit because they were very strict about it. Like, you can't play games. This is not good for you. Because they know me. Like, I'm very obsessive sometimes. If I get really into a game, well, YouTube clearly as well. If I really get into something, I really do it 100%, and I think that has always been games for me, and I think they were worried for my future, that I wasn't, didn't see a future in gaming. I think like most parents, you're not going to get anywhere playing games or whatever. Somehow I managed to find a way to do that, and yeah, now we can joke about it.
What did they have in mind for you?
Oh, well, I don't know, I guess. I studied the same thing my mom did for a while, which was industrial management and economy. Same school my parents met at. So kind of following their steps, mainly because I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
And what kind of career do you think that you were going to end up with following their steps and university? What does your mother do?
My mother she works with IT. She I don't know what she does. I never she's been CEO. No, CTO. No. Oh, CIO. She engineer officer. No, that's not how you spell it. Whatever. This is cannot.
Chief Information Officer.
That's it.
Yeah.
Chief Information. Is that it?
Well.
Okay. Well, my mom works with IT. My dad sort of similar, and I guess they wanted kind of like the same thing for me.
Did they read the YouTube comments?
No, I don't think so. I guess they do. Yeah, my mom loves to read, because she's in one video. She loves to read the comments on that one.
How was it to shoot that video?
It was a bit awkward, yeah, I think.
And you had your sister in that one as well.
Yeah, but it was very funny. They were funny.
Had it been something you'd wanted to do to get them involved in a video for a long time?
No, they practically begged me to be in the video. It's funny because I really don't care about getting attention or anything like that, but my not in a bad way, but my mom and sister, they love the attention. They love like reading comments and stuff like that about themselves. So they wanted the video, but for me it's like, because my dad was like, I don't really want to be in this video because he's like me, like I don't really care about that.
So was he there that day?
Yeah, he was on the couch next to us. Yeah.
And so, have you ever thought about making more videos with them?
Yeah, definitely. I just don't see them that often, and it feels a bit weird. Hey, haven't seen you in a while. Let's shoot a video. Like it doesn't seem right.
Do you miss Sweden?
No.
How much of a thing when you were growing up was it, the idea of moving away from Sweden?
It never hit my mind. No, I never thought I would leave Sweden ever. It's really strange because you grow up in a bubble of this is everything that matters to me inside this territory or whatever, and then you leave your country and you're like, whoa, there's a whole world I didn't even think about. It seems just so small, just my hometown. Not to be like I'm bigger than my hometown, but it seems so small in comparison when you broaden your perspective.
How many people live in your hometown?
500,000, maybe. Yeah.
And then when did it strike you that you should move out of Sweden?
Well, the idea to move never hit me until I met Marcia. I think I wanted to be with her, no matter, like, we just knew we wanted to be together. So I think when I met her, I think when it hit me.
And where were you and what were you doing when you first heard the name Marcia?
Summertime in Sweden, a lot of girls around, but I was focusing on this girl online instead, which was really fun. And yeah, I was harbor captain in the summer city that I was in, Fiskebäckskil. And
what does a harbor captain do?
We tell the other boats where they can park their boats. It's basically like a valet for boats.
And you don't even get to park the boats yourself.
No, you literally just tell them where they park. It sounds so prestigious, harbor captain, but it's pretty shit.
Yeah, captain of the harbor, right? Okay.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
And had you ever had like a friendship or a relationship that started on the internet before?
Yeah, just once, sorta, but it never really led anywhere. So yeah, no, Marcia was definitely the first time it felt serious about. I think with online relationships, it's easy to never meet. You just keep talking, and then it just kind of like, you can only go so far if you never met. It's kind of weird. So I knew, I was like, I just want to meet this girl right away and not waste time. And that's sort of what I did. I kind of dive in pretty quick with Marcia.
But how long was it that you were able to go from first talking to her online to actually meeting her in person?
With Marcia, it was 2 months, I think. I met her, we started talking at the beginning of the summer, and then by the end of the summer, with all the money I got from my harbor captain, I went to see her at the end of the summer.
And when you were talking with her, you were talking over Skype or?
Yeah, we were talking over. No, actually, Marcia was pretty shy, so she didn't want to talk over Skype directly. So it was always in the back of my mind, like, I'm being catfished here. Like, this could be some dude. But we would send videos to each other instead. And I think I had like 1 or 2 videos of her. The rest was just pictures, or like we just wrote to each other. And her English wasn't very good in the beginning, so it would take like 20 minutes with like a normal message, because she had to like, she told me her friend was sitting next to her every time, just like reading all the messages, and I'm like, great, you showed all that to your friend.
Did you keep the videos that she sent you at the very beginning?
Yeah, I have those. You're not gonna see them though. They're actually on, well, the ones I said are like privated on my channel, so dangerous.
And how, so you were actually recording videos for the audience of one, i.e. her.
Yeah.
Is this before you were doing videos for YouTube?
I was doing videos at YouTube. I had started like half a year before that.
Did you put the same kind of preparation that you put into a YouTube video into a video that you'd send her?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like a solo video. Yeah, I think so.
What was it about her that first stood out as really special?
Well, she was beautiful. I think that was the main thing, because she wrote me, and I'm like, who's this hot girl?
What did she say?
I don't know. I don't remember. She just wanted to talk. I remember she told me that I was very, like, forward right away. I told you, I was like, I'm going for it. What was the question? What I noticed with her...
What stuck out?
We just connected really well. I think it was really just fun to talk to her. And yeah.
What were the main things you had in common?
Not much, really. I don't think much at all. I think we just enjoyed each other's company, pretty much.
And so paint a picture of what happened when you took your final harbour captain check, got a ticket.
Well, I got fired from harbor captain.
Why'd you get fired?
Well, there was a GoldenEye, this huge boat that wanted to come to our harbor, and I got so excited. I'm like, the GoldenEye is coming. This is my big moment as harbor captain. So they call me and they're like, we're the GoldenEye. We'd like to visit your harbor. And I'm like, holy shit. But we're there was a tiny, tiny harbor. We clearly didn't have space for the GoldenEye.
How big is the GoldenEye?
The GoldenEye was like a yacht in a small Swedish harbor. Like, it doesn't match. So I booked them, and I ran into my boss office, and I was like, the GoldenEye is coming. It's going to be awesome. And she's like, no, what are you doing? You clearly can't have this person coming here. And I was like, oh. And she's like, call them back immediately. And I was like, but I didn't take their number. So the GoldenEye had to come no matter what. So I kind of messed up.
So the captain of the GoldenEye showed up.
Yeah.
And did you have to go forward and talk to him?
No, I had already been fired at that point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wasn't even allowed to.
And actually, that wasn't the first kind of misdemeanor that happened at the harbour, was it?
You were making me say this. Yeah, I never taken a shit at the floor before, but I did take a shit at the floor in the harbor. Before I got the job at working at the harbor, there had been an accident at the harbor because they had public toilets, and we usually party pretty close in the harbor, and I had eaten something weird that night.
What was it?
I think it was my friend that put laxatives in like the béarnaise sauce. Do you have béarnaise sauce?
Bernays.
Béarnaise, sorry.
Yeah.
Béarnaise sauce. It was like, what's it called when everyone brings something to a party? Food?
Don't know.
We call it a knit party. Everyone brings something.
Right.
Right. I brought the steak. My cousin brought the béarnaise sauce. He put something. I know my cousin. He would definitely put something in the béarnaise sauce.
Yeah.
He put laxatives in that shit. I felt it a few hours later at the party. I'm like, okay, I need to shit right now, or else I'm gonna shit myself in front of everyone. So I ran. I never ran to taking a shit before. It was that state of emergency. I even thought, like, should I just go behind the cars outside? And I'm like, no, the toilets are right there. I can make it. And then there's a huge line in front of the toilets, and I'm like, guys, this is an emergency. I need to go. And no one listened to me. I'm like, what are you doing? This is important. So I kind of just ran in anyway. And finally, I find a toilet because it had the door had a lock on it. But I opened the door, and it was a shower. And my butthole had already decided the fate of what was going to happen in that room, no matter what the room it was. So I squatted down and took a shit in the shower. A massive shit in the shower. And I obviously later I got a job at that very harbor. And they would always tell the story about the man that took a shit in the shower. And I would always go like, that's horrible. How could anyone do that? But I also try to play devil's advocate a little bit. Like, maybe he was just having a bad day. Maybe he ate something bad. So yeah, it was funny. That was my in, you know, even though I got fired. Well, I took a shit in the shower and you had to clean it, so it's okay.
When did you last go back to the Harbour Club?
Well, obviously now I can never go back, clearly. So, actually, they have a great restaurant. I love to go back every time I can.
And so back to the trip to Italy.
Yep.
You got fired. And had you been planning to go before you got fired, or was it getting fired?
No, I got relocated. So I just worked in the shop instead, pretty much. So I was fine. I was still making a living, but it was a bit humiliating. Everyone was like, yeah. You blew it.
And where does this fit in the timeline with the hot dogs?
The hot dog is after. So, yeah, I met Marzia. We realized we wanted to be together, but I didn't have any money. Like, that plane tickets are expensive, and for us to keep staying together, we wouldn't be able to afford it. So I realized I needed a job. And at this time, I also realized I don't want to keep studying at this university. I really hated it. It was the worst time ever.
What was so bad about it?
Well, because the first 2 weeks of university we have something called nollning, where you're supposed to just it's kind of like hazing, I guess. Yeah, first 2 weeks hazing, optional. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go if it's optional. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. I'll be playing video games. And then I come back in 2 weeks and like all the friend groups are already made, and there's just me like, all right, not fitting in anywhere. And it was just,
Were you the only one that sat out?
Yeah, exactly. So I felt like such an outsider in this huge group of people, and I didn't know where to fit in.
And what is Swedish hazing like?
You just drink a lot.
Because I think over here they have like Freshers Week, which I don't think I think it's just the drinking, not any of the crazy other...
Well, you dress up and you do all this weird shit.
Right.
And I was just kind of like in a, I don't want to do that kind of mood. Which obviously then led to, like, I had no friends. I didn't know how to do it. All these simple things of, like, where do I sit? What do I do during the 5 minutes break? It became, like, a huge problem, and I just hated going there. Just for the social aspect of it.
Yeah, an expression called Billy No Mates. Like,
okay.
How long before you made a friend?
I had some friends. I did, but I never really connected that well. Especially because I didn't care about school. Like, I got into that university not for my grades, but because I blew my grades on video games. But I did an entrance exam over a year, and that got me in. So I got into one of the best schools. You need top grades and everything. Like, so I'm in this school with just people that really are passionate about their schoolwork, where I'm just like, I just want to play games. I didn't make any sense.
Did you learn anything from there
From that school?
that you use today or currently in your life?
No. Physics is good though. It was mostly physics and math, and I think physics is interesting in a way, but no. I thought economy would come useful, but no, definitely not. No, it's kind of frustrating. I wish I had better knowledge on YouTube and I studied something film related instead, because I'm so clueless, obviously. But yeah, I hated school because of those two things, like wrong group of people. I was such an outsider. Every day we'd just go and I was just a pain in the ass.
Some people get to a point in life where they want to go back and go to university as an adult. Do you think that there's anything that could draw you back? Any other interests behind games?
No, fuck that. I would never want to go back. It was so bad. And I remember this one course, which was Math Lab or whatever. I hated it. It was like programming math. It's the worst. I didn't understand it. I thought I was like, okay, at least if I put my mind to it, I can do it. I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not smart enough. It's too hard. I can't do it. What am I doing here? So I quit. And my parents were like, all right, well, we're not going to pay for you to be around. Like, you're going to have to pay us rent then, or whatever. Which, it might seem strict, but I think it's pretty fair. And so I was like, all right, I'll get a job, whatever, no big deal. It's really hard to get a job, actually, turns out. Especially if you're really just want one quick and you have no connections. So I was so desperate to prove my parents wrong, like, I can get a job. So I got a job selling hot dogs. And it wasn't that bad. They had, the catch of it was that it was right next to my university, like across the street of my university. But it was sort of like the odd street of it, so it wasn't like super popular, but every once in a while someone from my class, which I clearly didn't even know, but they knew who I was, saw me there and it was like, oh, you're here now. Cool. The school where literally like anyone that finishes it will become like a boss or whatever, and then there's me in the hot dog stand.
And you didn't interfere with any of their hot dogs or anything?
No, I wasn't vengeful or spiteful, no. Funny enough, my old teacher came once. And he pretended that he didn't know it was me. Yeah, and I was like, dude, I'm not embarrassed. Come on. But no, he pretended he didn't know me. I guess he thought it was so embarrassing.
Did you?
It's a bit cringy. And
I guess he didn't expect to see you there.
Yeah.
Did he believe in you? Did he think you were going to go far?
No, I don't think so. He wasn't a very good teacher. Fuck him.
Did you get to a point where you could think you could never eat another hot dog as long as you live?
No, I made great hot dogs.
What's the secret to a great foodie?
Well, actually, I just made hamburgers. We sold hamburgers as well. Well, what we did with the hot dogs, because the guy that worked there was so cheap, or not, that's not right. He was resourceful. So he was like, don't cook the hot dogs, because if we make too many, we're gonna have to throw them away. So just microwave them, dip them in the water, and people don't know the difference. Yeah, it was pretty gross.
And that's what you did?
Yeah, he told me to do it. Am I guilty here?
Have you ever been back to the hot dog stand?
No, but I really should visit it again. It was funny because like the boss in the harbor hated me. She hated me. She was so nice to everyone, like high-fiving them, and I was like, okay. But this guy really liked me because I was.
You did what you were told.
Yeah, clearly I dipped the fucking thing. I did it.
You must have saved him a load of money.
Yeah, especially on the scarce napkin control that I did as well. Not give out too many. But yeah, no, he really liked me. So I honestly, even though the job was shit, the fact that I had a great boss was pretty good actually. And he would follow my YouTube thing as well. Like I showed it to him and he's like, whoa, that's really cool. There's some money in there. And I'm like, yeah, if people get big, they make a lot of money. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, yeah, because that was clearly my dream at that point for it to grow so I can make a living of it. And then, boom, I got my contract with the network. So I made no money in a year making YouTube videos to a great amount of money in one, second, essentially, because no ads, and then I had ads on my videos. So I was like, well, goodbye. I remember, man, this is terrible. I shouldn't be saying this. But I never told him I was quitting because I felt so bad about it. So, and I was supposed to meet Marcia. So I was flying to Marcia the next day, and I had just dropped off the keys. And then I was landing in Amsterdam in between, and I checked my phone, and he had called me like 10 times. And I was like, I'll have to call him. And then he was crying the fact that I had quit, and it was just so sad. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but we made some great hot dogs together.
So in that moment when you were talking to him about it being there being a future in it, like what was the moment where you realized there might be a future in YouTube?
For me, the moment I realized, well, I always dreamed big with YouTube. Like I really thought maybe, there's a chance, even though how stupid it was, because it was so unlikely. But I think even when I just started, it was really weird because a lot of people of my friends and friends that I met through YouTube, they treated me like I was a big shot on YouTube even before I had like 100 subs or whatever.
How come?
I don't know. I think people believed that I had a voice that was different, and people felt like this guy is gonna get big someday. So people treated me like I'm something special, but really I was like 100 subs, like I didn't mean shit. But I felt that vibe since the beginning. I really did. So I felt like I had a lot to give, and I was ready for it.
And what was it? What was it like when you got when you reached that first milestone of 100 subs?
When I got 100 subs, it was because I had like 30 subs before that, and then someone put me in their sub box, which back then was like a big deal, because then anyone that subbed to them will automatically sub to your sub box. So it was a great way to get subscribers that don't give a shit about you, but you get the number. So all of a sudden, overnight, I got 100 subs, and I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna be the biggest YouTuber. So that was crazy. I remember 100 subs was like the biggest deal. That was probably one of my biggest milestones, just getting 100.
And did it change at all the kind of the way you approach making your videos with the idea that actually there is a larger group of people who are watching?
What?
Well, like before you were saying that you were making videos like without any idea of who you were talking to.
Yeah.
But now you had a defined idea of how many people.
Well, I still didn't know, like, yeah, I had a couple people watching me, but I didn't feel like I had an audience yet, I would say. It was more like trying to grab people across everywhere, as many people as I can, just to have an audience, but I didn't feel like I had it yet, no. I didn't do the, hey, how's it going, bros, or anything like that back then. Because the bros became my audience. I think that's when it started, really.
And when did you start to, like, what is the story behind the key pieces of it? Like, for instance, the bro army, like, when did that crystallize for you?
It started with when I started playing Amnesia, because in my first episode of Amnesia, I literally say, I'm not gonna make any jokes, because that takes away the atmosphere or whatever. I just wanted to get scared. And a lot of people hold me against that. They're like, oh, you changed. You said you weren't gonna make jokes. But then I started making jokes, and I thought it was so funny how you can turn around horror to comedy in a way. That mix is something I haven't really seen before, especially playing games. So I thought that was so interesting, and I wanted to do more of that. And so I would start, as a way to feel less scared, I would call the monster like my bro. What up, bro? Come at me, bro, or what? Come at me, bro. That's where it came from. Come at me, bro. That meme. And then I was like, I'll call my audience bros. That makes sense. make them feel like close to me or whatever, like we're a community, and I think that really worked.
And when you had a small amount of subscribers, did you actively communicate more in the comments?
So I started doing Friday, that sort of became my way to communicate with my audience in a way. I would just do something to kind of acknowledge that people were watching.
And what kind of, did you develop any kind of personal connections with any of the fans early on, any early subscribers?
No.
Do you still get people writing to you say, "Oh, I've been with you since"?
Everyone says they've been with me forever. I can never take that seriously, because then you check on their profile and they're like, "I've been watching you." Wait, first of all, people go like, "I've been watching you for 8 years," but I'm like, "Dude, I've been making videos 6 years. What are you talking about?" And then you see other people and be like, "I watch you for 4 years," and then you like watch when they say, "I've been subscribed for 4 years," and then you check their profile and they're like created in 2016, and you're like, "Come on." So I can never tell when to take it seriously, but if I meet a fan that I can tell, like sometimes I do meetups or whatever, and I can tell from what they say that they are like really old school, that's always really cool.
When you got that first check from the network and you were able to step away from the hot dog stand,
Yeah.
did the amount of happiness in your life change overnight?
Oh yeah, that was one of the most surreal moments ever. The thought that I had made my dream come true, essentially, that I could make a living doing this, because that was really my dream. That was my goal. I didn't say it to anyone, obviously, but when it happened, it was such an unreal moment. Like I remember tearing up a little bit, even just thinking about it.
And had that been your plan to partner with a network? Like, was that your next step?
Well, YouTube wouldn't partner channels that did gaming back then. So yeah, I knew I had to get a network partnership. And I didn't even get it directly. I got it through a friend that I didn't know. Like a very loose contact gave me this contract to this company that was responsible for my living. I had no contact with whatsoever. I was just hoping the checks would come in every week or every month.
And how did you approach the kind of contract and all that kind of part of it? I mean, did you feel like confident about the business side of it from the start?
No, I didn't even know what the contract said. Like my contract was illegal. It said like this word that I didn't know what it meant. It was like forever. What is the word?
Indefinite.
No, it wasn't indefinite. It's like a legal term for forever.
Right.
That I showed my lawyer like a year.
In perpetuity.
In perpetuity. That's it. It was an in perpetuity contract. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm Swedish. Like my English wasn't even good back then. I'm like, I don't know what this means. And then my dad set me up with a lawyer, and he's like, wait a minute. So yeah, we figured out it was an illegal contract because you're not allowed to have that.
But for the time being, it gave you the confidence, do you think, to be able to continue making videos?
Well, the thing is, like, the contract that I had, everyone's first contract on YouTube, it's a scam. It's a piece of shit. You lose half your revenue or something like that, but you're like, oh my God, I can make a living off YouTube. This is amazing. Back then as well, I think the AdSense was a bit higher as well. So even though I didn't have that many people watching me, I could still make a living. I think I had like 15 million views per month.
And so the journey then was that you went to Italy for a bit, and is that where you were living when you really started to grow as a channel? Or?
No, I was in Sweden during the time. Marcy had come with me to Sweden, and same thing there. My parents were like, it's not that easy to get a flat. I'm like, they were right. So I couldn't get a flat, and my girlfriend was coming to live with me, and I was like, what do I do? And I wasn't making any money yet at this time. I was still, my living was still not from YouTube yet. I knew it was coming. I knew this contract was coming.
So Marcia fell in love with the hot dog salesman.
Yeah, definitely. But she came over to Sweden to live with me for about 8 months, and we had to live in the suburb. And me, I would always make fun of kids living in the suburb because I went to a rich school, And we would always make fun of the people that put their name. You had to write where you live, and I was always like, "Oh, you live in the suburb." We'd always make fun of that one kid. Then I live in the suburb, but it was great. I had a great time there. It was very nice. Very. I think that was a very humbling moment because we didn't have any money. We were fighting over like, I remember once we were fighting over a pack of noodles, me and Marseille. This is this deal to get 3 noodles for 2, and I went for the deal, but Marseille was like, "But I want the deal too." I was like, "We can't afford it." So it was like 2 or 3 pounds or something like that.
And did you go from being pen pals to actually living together?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we went very fast together, but it worked out really well like that, actually. Because when you have a relationship, I say that because I think you can only get so far talking to each other online. But when you start off a relationship like that, I think it has a stronger foundation. Because even though you never met, you know you really care for each other.
What was the first time you ever met her like that?
Extremely awkward. Yeah. Because she's very shy. I'm a bit shy. She's not used to speaking English. And we see each other for the first time. It was very awkward.
Where did you first lay eyes on her?
When I I remember, so I was at the plane. We had just landed and I was like, what am I doing here? This is crazy. I didn't even want to get off the plane at one point. It was so scary. And then, yeah, I saw her when I got up. And yeah, she was even more beautiful. But it was very awkward. But I remember even thinking like, oh, geez, have I made a mistake here? Because it was so awkward between us the first couple, like, hour at least. The first hour. Where she would put her head on my shoulder, which made me think, okay, this is kind of nice. And then after a few hours, it really just kind of dropped. And we were just back to like as if we were
long distance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what's the kind of secret of having a relationship like that with somebody who you have an incredible partnership with and can see you can get through thick and thin?
I don't know if there's a secret. I think if you really care for each other, it just sort of works itself out. Really. She's been with me throughout most of this journey, so she knows me, she's supported me, and we understand each other in that way.
So she moved to Sweden to be with you. But
yeah.
Like before that, what was her journey? Where was her life going?
Marcia was supposed to study university, and the plan was that she was just gonna take a leap year. Is that what it's called?
Gap year.
Gap year. She's gonna take a gap year to just go to Sweden with me, and then go back to studying eventually. But then she started making videos as well, and that sort of became her thing. And just kind of step by step, like we didn't really plan for anything. We just knew we wanted to be together. This is really the only way.
There's a myth that says that anytime you see a camera move in one of her videos, you're the one that's operating the camera. Do you shoot all of her videos?
Every single one. Yeah, no, I shot all her videos. A lot of times, she thinks I'm a really bad photographer. Like, I'm the worst photographer of all time. But I see the comments, and they're always like, oh, your videos look so nice. Who shot this? It's me. There's no one else. So
when did she decide to start making videos? What was the conversation like?
So Marta wanted to start making videos because she would start watching other people as well, and she got inspired to do it. And she was a dog sitter in Sweden, which isn't really like a proper job, really. I mean, I'm saying that because I had to do all the work for it. Like, that was equally my job as hers.
What were the names of some of the dogs?
Gustav, that fucking dog. It was worse than Edgar. Piece of shit. Like, this is puppy that was so annoying. The owner would drop off at like 6 a.m. and I was so tired I was gonna die. And then this dog would just not let us sleep. And it was, yeah, Gustav. I hope you're less of an asshole. I want Gustav to meet Edgar. That'd be fun.
When did you first meet Edgar?
Like 3 years ago? 4 years ago? Yeah.
Where did you find him?
We found Edgar at a farm about an hour from here. Worst mistake of my life. Should have known then, because he was like crazy then, and we thought, oh, he's so cute, just like everyone else that sees him. Oh, he's so cute. And then we brought him back on the train, and he just wouldn't sit still the whole ride, and we were like, oh, maybe he's nervous because he left his home or whatever. And then we got home, and he wouldn't sit still the whole time. And then we went to sleep, and he wouldn't stop. He would take shits everywhere and pee everywhere. And I called the owner, and I was like, I can't take care of this dog. I just can't do it. And it was kind of like, you know, in movies when there's like a witch that sells you something bad or something that, like, I'm not going to return him. You can't return him. And she's like, I'm glad I got rid of him. She literally said that. And I was just like, what? I realized I was stuck with this fucking dog.
And who came first, Edgar or Maya?
We had Maya first. We've got Maya in Sweden. She's our budget dog because she had one eye. She was so cheap. And she's so... but we love her because she was so... She was already trained. She's old, so she's very easy to take care of. She almost take care of us in a way.
Do you know what happened to her eye?
A cat scratched her eye. That's all we know, but we don't know if it's true or not. But... So we thought, hey, another pug. Not a problem. Big problem. Big problem.
And what was it like between the two of them at the start?
They were fine. Yeah. No, the dogs were fine.
Yeah. And then so back to the noodles and to being in Sweden in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Like, how long did that last?
Yeah, that was 8 months. We spent 8 months in Sweden. And then during those 8 months, my channel really blew up. Like a big difference from where we were, because I couldn't afford paying rent almost at some points. Like I kind of had to write the guy and be like, a month, I'll get my check, I promise. And it was really, I needed to tell my parents at that point, like, I need money, but I didn't want, you know, obviously when you're young, you don't want to go to your parents for these things anymore. So I managed to solve it, managed to wait a little bit. I finally got my YouTube check. And I was able to pay rent, and my channel really grew a lot. I got from that time to 100,000 subscribers, which doesn't sound like a lot, but back then it was a lot as well, and as fast as it went.
Who's your favorite YouTuber?
I don't really have a favorite right now.
Of all time?
Oh, that'll be me. Come on, there's no one better than me. No.
But you do love your own videos.
Love is a strong word. It's more like they're okay, I guess. Yeah, I love my videos. I love watching them. They're really funny.
If somebody like had never heard of you or what you do before, and you had to point at one video to say this will give you an idea of what I'm up to, what would that video be?
I really need to make a video like that because I don't have a video like that. It's so... I guess that's why people don't really know what I do anymore, because like it's not a clear thing. I just do so many different things. It's not clear what I do. People still think I'm a gamer. I don't, like, half of my stuff is not gaming, so I don't know. It keeps changing, so it's kind of hard to show.
If I was to spin the question round, like, is there a particular video that you think back on as like super cringe that you wouldn't want people to watch?
I think all my videos past 2015.
Before 2015?
Yeah, sorry, before 2015, yeah. Don't watch those, please. They're still there for the ad revenue, obviously. Just kidding. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever had a thing where you like really liked a person but just not understood what they're doing with their videos?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's okay. Yeah, there's a difference between a person and their content, I think. Definitely.
When you were putting together your own network with the Revenue Mode project, like,
Yeah.
what did you look for in creators when you were figuring out what your own network would be?
With Revenue, the goal was to find people that could all get along, like we would hang out anyway, sort of was the idea. Because you can tell, one thing I learned early was when I did my very first production, PewDiePie and Friends, how extremely cringy it is to all of a sudden be in front of a camera with someone that you never met. At least someone like me. Like, I'm not that outgoing that I can just, all right, we're best friends now. Like, it was very strange to collab with people that I didn't know. So I knew for us to form a group, we kind of just had to be people that already get along.
And how did that PewDiePie and Friends project come about?
Well, it's my network that said, hey, we'll fly you in, we pay you for your show to get made. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. It wasn't cool. I think they were just trying to squeeze out as many episodes as possible. It's like, I think we shot 30 episodes. There's like 4 of them out there. Should give you an idea. I think that really showed, it taught me at least, because I thought, okay, we're stepping it up. We got better cameras, we got camera crew, better lighting, better everything. Everything's more thought out, but it really learned, like, that's not the key to YouTube. People just care about the content, or they want to be entertained.
Was that your first ever experience with, like, a, inverted commas, professional setup?
Yeah, that was my first professional setup. And it was definitely like, the reaction that I got from my audience was like, we don't like this at all. It's the first time I got many dislikes on a video, and I'm like, what went wrong here? And you think, in your head, like, oh, this is gonna be awesome, everyone's gonna love it. But no.
Was it even a good experience for you personally?
To film it? I think it was good practice for me, because it's a very strange thing to be in front of, especially when you're just in a room alone, to then all of a sudden be in front of other people you don't know and with cameras, because it's a weird thing. And I think it was a good experience to kind of break down that bit of weirdness.
And did you meet anybody through, for instance, that experience that you're still friends with today?
Well, no. I mean, I already knew Ken.
How did you
Actually, that was the first time we met, during that show. Yeah, me and Ken met the first time. He flew in to be on that show. And we spent a lot of time together. It was really fun.
What made you hit off with Ken in the first place?
Why? So Ken, I did these shout out competitions. Ken hates this, but he was one of the winners. I didn't even pick him. I was going through the submissions, and Marcia was like, what about him? And I was like, I don't know, I don't really like him. But I was like, okay, fine, I'll pick him. And then Ken won, obviously, and he got like a big, not that big, but some subscriber boost. And he made a thank you video about it. And I didn't really know much about him, but I saw that thank you video, and I was like, oh, he seemed like a really cool guy. And I think we just started talking, like, very lightly. And ever since, I think we've just been friends. But yeah, shooting this PewDiePie and Friends, as shit as it was really fun to just fuck about with Ken. That was a really good time.
Was that the first time you ever went to Los Angeles?
Yeah, it was the first time for both of us, I think. It's really fun.
And after that experience, did you think that you wouldn't do any more, like, professional kind of shows again?
I guess not. No, I didn't think I would do more after that. I kind of learned, if the one thing I took from that was, like, people don't care about all this fuss. People just want to be entertained, and anything that takes away from the quality that is in my normal videos, they're gonna notice and they're gonna hate it.
How has your attitude to preparing a video changed from back then to now?
Back then, well, it's funny because people always reference my old videos with a bit of nostalgia, as in, like, oh, his old videos are so great, he was so much funnier, and, like, he was so much better. But they were so shit. Like, I don't see that at all, especially because I know it. Because I would literally just press record, shoot 10 minutes, stop recording, upload. Like there's no thought, there's no effort. There was just me playing the game, but maybe there's a charm in that, I guess. But there was also like this thing where I could get stuck on a puzzle in the game for literally like 3 episodes. And my thing was like, I never cut. I don't cut. So it's just these painful parts where people were literally screaming at me like, it's so obvious. What the fuck is wrong with you? It was even the first PewDiePie meme was, PewDiePie, it's so obvious, because that's what all people would comment. Because I wouldn't cut my videos. But now I like to sort of write down an idea, what I have. I run it through in my head. Sometimes I even go through different parts of it before, just to make sure it works. I want it to have a structure where it has a beginning. Something has to be important in the middle, and then it has to end in a sort of nice way. And that feels like a packaged, more nice video to watch, rather than I'm playing, okay, now I stop. So I think it's a lot of difference.
And where does the kind of inspiration come from for videos that you're going to make?
I think it comes from anywhere. I really try and open my mind. I don't know, I get inspired by a lot of other YouTubers in these things, I think. You watch them and you're like, oh, if they can make it entertaining, I can probably do it too. Not to be naive or whatever, but I think a lot of YouTubers, they look at other people and be like, oh, that looks fun. I want to try and do that. My spin on that. So it's a bit hypocritical of what I said before. But I think that's how it works on YouTube. You kind of look at other people and you want to try the same thing. It's not like anyone that ever played Happy Wheels just thought, I'm going to play Happy Wheels just because I think it's a great idea, not because I watched someone else play it. Like, they play because they saw someone else play it and they want to play it.
Who's the first person to play Happy Wheels?
I don't know the first, but I know Uber Hex or Noah was probably one of the first bigger ones. And by the way, when I played Happy Wheels the first time, people hated it. They thought it was the worst shit ever. Like, go back to playing horror games, this is garbage. And I was like, oh man, that sucks. But I really enjoyed it and I thought it was really funny. So I just kept doing it and it became my most popular show ever. Like my most popular series ever on YouTube. And that's also a thing I learned, which was like, you shouldn't always listen to your audience. You should you can't explain it, but you should 100% listen to everything your audience says, and you should 100% not do that as well. And I can't tell you when it's the right time and wrong time to do that.
Because it's weird, because so many people think YouTube's such a success because of how reactive you can be to what your audience want to see.
Yeah. If I listened to my audience 100%, I would not be where I am. I know that. Because I realized at one point, because back then, it was my thing to play horror games. And there weren't many horror games back then. There was like a handful. I'm not joking. Like, there was not many horror games. At least indie horror games, like the scary ones. I had literally scavenged every single fucking horror game to keep up this thing that I'm just playing horror games. So I knew, like, I had to find something else. If I want to keep doing this as my thing, I have to do something else. I have to try out different things. Fans don't look at it that way. They just want the same thing no matter what. Which, fair enough, but that's not how it works. And also, personally, every day just being like, hey, how's it going? Ah! It was very, very frustrating at some points. Just keep getting scared all the time. That expectation as well.
But you think you had it was a great response for the recent Resident Evil series.
This one?
It like, to go back into horror games?
Yeah, no, I'd still trying my best to maintain all the aspects that I've done. I still try and play horror games every once in a while, whenever there's one that I find really interesting, instead of playing the shitty ones over and over and over, because I know they might ask for that, but that's not what they want.
So the way that you've kind of make videos, and the videos themselves have evolved so much in the last several years, what do you think is next? How do you foresee that you're going to evolve what you do on your channel further?
Well, I'm done. this is it. I don't know. There's different things I want to do. I think the fun aspect is something I learned is what matters the most. If I'm having fun doing it, that's really all that matters. And I don't know where I'll end up, and I didn't know where I'll end up back then, but I know I want to keep doing it. So it's just for the future.
What do you think about like the wider evolution of YouTube and YouTube videos as a medium?
In what sense?
Like, where do you think it's going? Like, where the idea of creators, where do you think what's next for that?
It's weird because we're still so small, even though we're big or whatever. YouTubers aren't really taking that seriously still, I think, compared to how big our audiences are. YouTube isn't really... I thought it would be more advanced or further on at this point, because you can tell where YouTube is going. It's gonna keep growing. It's gonna keep getting bigger. But I'm surprised how it still isn't at the same time. So I don't know. It's weird. Where is it gonna go?
If you were to wake up tomorrow morning as the CEO of YouTube, what kind of changes would you make to the platform? Where do you think it needs to go next?
I mean, CEO YouTube, that seems like a hard job to do, honestly, with so many people involved. I don't know if I would want to do that, but I don't know. I think for me, as someone that has an audience, I find it very important that I talk to them directly to kind of let them know what is happening. And I think YouTube as a website should be thinking about it in the same way, as in they have so many people that use their website, but they're just a company. They don't really have a way to really communicate with the people that use their website and love their website and really care about their website. But it's such a wall in between, I think, YouTube and the people that use the website. And I think I would try and break down that wall.
When in last December in 2016, when you said you were going to delete your channel, your main, and people thought it was going to be the main channel.
Yeah.
Was there any truth in
that? Yeah, a little bit of truth. Yeah, definitely. I think I was feeling a bit fed up with, because I always prided myself in that a lot of people, all my fans were active or whatever. Like, if I had 100,000 subs, I would get 100,000 views on my video, or even more. And that was kind of important to me, because I was like, yeah, well, I may not have many subscribers, but at least they all watch me. Now I've been doing YouTube for so long, and so many people subscribe, and so many things happen. Like, I don't get 53 million views on each video. That would be great, by the way. But so I thought it was really, like, when you got bigger numbers than you ever expected, you kind of stop caring. I know it might seem ungrateful. That's not it at all. It's more like, I know, in a way, 54 million it is actually. 54 million subscribers is insane and is something really big. But I really just care more about my audience in a way that I'd rather just have a small channel and kind of fuck off in a way. I don't think I realized what it meant really to be the biggest channel, I think. So I was I think at that time specifically, I was very fed up with it.
When did you become number one? And what was that? What happened on that day?
It was 2014, I think. I don't remember. I think I was in Los Angeles at the time.
I've heard a story from someone else about you actually being with Smosh on that day.
Yeah, it wasn't on the day though. But Smosh was the previous biggest channel, so we shot a video together where they kind of passed the crown to me or whatever. Smosh was actually one of the first channels I watched on YouTube. I used to love those guys. I still do, obviously, but they inspired me, I think, in a better way, because I thought it was so cool. So yeah, very very unreal.
If you could articulate why you think the channel has the popularity it does and experiences the growth that it does, how would you describe it?
It's always kind of weird to me because if you meet me, it's a very different experience than if you watch my video, and I think that what was the question? I don't want to get too sidetracked.
Just really I was just asking for you to describe basically why you think the channel is such a success.
I think there's a couple different reasons. I would have to say luck because of timing and all that stuff. Would I be as big if I started today? Probably not. But also, I think, what's the word? Commitment. I've done videos every single day as best as I can since I started, and I think that grind has really you don't get 53 million subs in a day. You built that over years and years and years, and that's what I've done. I think no one really cared about my videos until I did something that was different. I found my own thing, which was the horror games. That was the first time people said, I want to see more. When is the next one coming up? So and I see so many people, especially when I do these subscriber competitions, everyone does the same thing. They just do what everyone else is doing. No one really cares, and there's too many people doing that. So I think I did my own thing. I did it for a long time, and I was lucky.
But then you still sometimes do get involved with the various memes and stuff that happen on YouTube because you feel it's important to sort of make light of them, or
memes?
Well, like for instance, Smash or Pass or whatever.
Yeah. I just need a video that day. What are you talking about? Just wanna Smash or Pass. That's a great title. I'll take that shit. Can I make it funny? Yeah, absolutely. I'll make anything funny if I need to. Yeah.
And so, where did the idea to do the Photoshop videos come from?
Well, I thought I would play on my. I think that goes on the do my own thing, because I don't know, not that. Sure, a lot of people are good at Photoshop, but I don't think that many people are. So I thought at least then I can bring my own expertise and do something different. So it just made sense in a way.
And when did you first meet a subscriber in real life?
My first subscriber. It must have been when we were in Partille in Sweden. I don't remember when though, but probably I remember I would get recognized in that area more and more by all the young Swedish lads in the area, and it was very cool, very different. It's so strange because even now when I get recognized, me and Marcia were out this weekend and I just forgot that I'm a public figure, because I got stopped and there was a line just waiting to take pictures of me in this clothes store, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the life I have. I forgot about that, because we tend to kind of move in areas that doesn't get too crazy, but yeah.
There have been a few people before who've been YouTube creators who have kind of had incidences where the pressure of having to make videos, having to keep supplying content for their audience, and also the directness of the comments and the personal nature sometimes of the trolling has led to them kind of having some difficult times.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever? How do you deal with the comments? How do you deal with all the attention? How do you stay centered?
Ooh, I try and listen, try and filter out what is actual criticism and what's actually trolling or whatever. I think it's pretty important to, even though, because a lot of people brush off hate like, oh, I don't listen or whatever, but I think it's been important for me to kind of grow in a way to kind of listen to what some stuff are that actually is criticism. I think you have to have an open mind to that, but I also think you have to have a strong mind. I met a lot of people, like just can't cope with it. It's too much for them, and I understand that. I really do, because it is a lot, definitely. To every single move you make, you're going to be judged for. Like, I'll be judged for every single upload I make, single thing I say. And that can be very frustrating. It can ruin your day in a way if you feel like you messed up or whatever. But you get over it, and then you move on and you make another video. But it's definitely not for everyone, no.
Do you think there'll come a time where you won't want to make a video every single day for the channel?
Obviously, yeah. I mean, I can't keep doing it forever. Am I gonna be here when I'm 50 or whatever? Who knows? I don't think so. I think a lot of my fans are already kind of like, how long is he gonna keep doing this? So that's already not a good sign, but I still really love it. And what else would I do? Like, I love doing it. Maybe I'll do it differently in a way that doesn't take up so much time and effort, because it really does at this point. But I think I would always want to keep some part of it there. Yeah.
Do you think if you were to start a family that you would involve the family in the videos?
Well, I mean, that's the golden ticket to YouTube. You get a baby, that's like views. Come on, man. No,
How will you know it's time to do something else?
When I find something that I enjoy more than YouTube.
But if you're making YouTube videos every single day, when will you have a chance to find that something else?
I still do other stuff outside of YouTube at this point. Like, I'm still I've worked on a lot of other projects outside of YouTube. Obviously not as committed, and it can never be the same thing. I can never put that full commitment in it, which can be frustrating. But no, there's definitely things.
Did you get the same kind of feeling from releasing a game like Tuber Simulator as you do from creating videos for your channel?
Yeah, definitely. Seeing all the I think, sharing something that you worked on, it's the same thing. Seeing people's reaction to it, that's the great thing. It wouldn't be the same without the audience, the reaction. I still read comments on all my videos, and it's not because I want to torture myself. I'm kidding, but it's because I enjoy it. It's fun.
What was it like to come outside your house and find a reporter from the Wall Street Journal there?
Well, I never actually saw them. I just heard them at the door. But I wish I saw them. It was a very bizarre time when all that was happening. It was a bit like, it's not the first time I have a reporter at my door, so I knew how to handle it for sure.
Why did they come before?
Well, there was one guy that had flew in from like Mississippi or some shit. He was just knocking on he was from ESPN or something. And he was just like pretending to be a mailman, and then he was all of a sudden in my face. And then I was like, fine, I'll just walk my dog with you for 10 minutes. And he got what he wanted, I guess. And yeah, I had reporters ringing my door at other points, and I'm like, how did you get my address? This is so weird. It's really weird. So it was alright. It wasn't as bad. I think a lot of people saw that tweet I did, because I was like, Wall Street Journal is at my house, blah, blah, blah. People were like, oh my God, that's not okay. That's terrible. I'm like, I don't care.
Do you remember the first interview you ever gave?
Yeah. Sweden local newspaper. Yeah.
What was the headline?
I don't remember, but PewDiePie has blah 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 subscribers probably. Yeah.
Do you keep articles and stuff like that?
My mom kept some of them, but not really, no. I have the only ones I have. The only one I have is the Times article, I think. Yeah.
What was the kind of experience of like going on to the Late Show with Stephen Colbert? Had you watched that show ever before? No, the thing was like people kept saying, Stephen Colbert, this is a huge deal for you, Felix. You don't understand. And I'm like, I don't want to go. Like, I don't know who this guy is. I had no clue. Now I watch him and stuff. I love him. He's amazing. But at the time I was like, I think that it really helped because I didn't seem that nervous at that interview.
as I was on Conan, because I know who Conan was. So I was just like, oh my god. But at Colbert, it helped me keep my cool because I didn't know who he was, so it didn't feel like a big deal. But I remember before going on stage, obviously very nervous. My family was there, and all that stuff. But it's really cool.
How do you find those type of interviews with the press and with hosts like that? What kind of, like, is there a persona that you kind of have to slip into, or?
No, I think it's weird because I don't, which I think is almost like the problem, because there is a clear, I never thought I had a persona, but it is clear difference between PewDiePie and Felix. You know, when I make these videos where I go outside, I scream naked in a suit or whatever, that's clearly PewDiePie. Felix would never be able to do that. Like, I have to kind of enter that character. I think with interviews, I tend to just stay as Felix because he makes more sense. And that part of me is always more like, okay, I guess. So yeah. Tend to be more relaxed.
And how, going forward, how will you approach doing interviews and relations with the media and stuff?
Well, I remember actually here in UK, The Sun wrote to me, and I didn't know that The Sun was like this unreputable, or what it's called, like not very
tabloid.
It's a tabloid, yeah, and I didn't know. I just knew they had a lot of readers. I'm like, oh, that's cool. The Sun, that sounds good. So I did the interview, and it took like a long time. Like, it took a couple hours, and I have to make videos. Like, it's a big commitment for me. I know it doesn't seem like it, but to do that, and then just see the headline the day after being, this is how much money he makes, which is something we never even talked about in like these few hours. You know, I thought I was there to tell my story, and then you just see that, and I was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, that's really disgusting. Like, that's what you took out of that? We didn't even talk about that. So that was very frustrating, and I think it just kept going from there. Like, even with Wall Street Journal's, our first article was about money. Anytime I see my name, it's about money, and I understand that that's interesting to people, but like, beating it to death always, and it almost became a thing where people started asking me just to antagonize me about it as well. Like, you can tell that they were like, I'm gonna be rude now, how much money do you make? And it's like, you wouldn't ask anyone else that. You wouldn't ask any other public figure that question, but for some reason it's okay to ask me, and it just feels like, all right.
I think there's a difference in the kind of perception of, you know, I think it's new what you do, and people getting paid for it is new, and I think people
don't understand that you can get paid to do it. So the fact that I make a lot of money doing it is so shocking to people, and they want to get that out there. I get it. I understand why. But it's like, okay, we've done it 100 times now. Like, can we talk about other stuff as well?
Was there ever a point in this where it became about the money, you know, doing 7 videos a week? Was there ever a time where it was like, was that ever a big motivation?
No, I don't think so. I honestly, like, people probably call me out and think it's bullshit, but like, you can take away many zeros from my paycheck, I would still do it. Like, I did it even when I didn't make money, so clearly I did it out of passion. Don't get me wrong, like, money's great, and it's a great security, especially when you weren't able to pay rent, and that feeling of stress that you have around that.
Fighting over the noodles.
Yeah, fighting over noodles.
Having to look after Gustav.
Having to look out after shitty dogs, Gustav. And then, to then have that security it's great to have, no doubt. And I know I complain a lot about all these things like money or whatever. That's all people talk about. Like, it's a problem, but there are worse things, clearly.
Do you, when you're thinking about the ideas for your videos, is shocking people and triggering people ever something that comes into mind as a reaction you want to get?
No, it's never an idea. I think most of my jokes that I got in trouble for has just been something that kind of slips out, because a lot of it, you know, yes, I have an outline of what I want to say and do, but I'll never follow it, and it's always just random. And then something comes out, and you're like, I wasn't supposed to say that, but it came out really funny. And then you watch it, and I always laugh. Like, I always think it's hilarious, and I know a lot of people think so too. But there's always that one or whatever, how many people that will react a different way, and I always feel like it's a shame. I don't make the joke to kind of piss people off. Like, that's not the goal. But it's an inevitability, and I do like to push boundaries. I do like to see where you can go with things. I think that's really interesting. But yeah.
Do you think that if you had more censorship and had used less profanity, that you would have established the same connection with your audience?
No. I think people want honesty. They wouldn't have a connection to me if I wasn't honest to them. And I think if I censor myself, you know, even my videos now, they are censored. You may not believe it, but like a lot of it is cut out because we know it doesn't fit, and we know people won't, you know, it would start drama or whatever.
But doing like another video that was kind of Hitler themed and had, you know, the Conan video, the Hitler history thing, like, do you feel like, what made you want to do that after all of the fuss that had come about from the previous videos?
I wanted to do that video to show that despite all the drama, I wasn't going to censor myself. I don't really care for Nazi jokes. I think they're kind of like done. Like, it was funny for a while. Yeah, I think with that video, I just wanted to show that, look, I can still joke about these things. I still think, you know, despite everything that happened, you know, my audience never had a problem with the humor, because then they would have, you know, call me out on it. And I just thought, why should I censor myself to someone that isn't my audience? And I kind of wanted to show, like, I can still do this. It doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't make a difference.
But then if people that have more of a distant kind of relationship to your content and to you see that and think, okay, well, that's you legitimizing those kind of jokes that happened before, and that maybe you do have, there is more to it than just making Nazi jokes. Like, does that concern you?
I just strongly believe, I just really don't believe that that's the case. I really don't believe that making jokes legitimizes that kind of, you know, neo-Nazi thing or whatever. I don't see that connection. I know people would like to, but I don't. I really don't. And maybe that's naive of me to think, but I don't see it.
And what about if there were people, like, what would you say to people who kind of looked at that and then kind of felt hurt by some of the stuff in a way that you definitely didn't intend, but they felt that anyway? I mean, what would you say to them?
I don't know. I guess I would say, you know, sorry. It's not my intent to make anyone feel hurt. Obviously, from watching my videos, it's never been a goal. Like, that would be kind of a stupid goal to make. My goal is to entertain. My goal is to make people laugh. That's what I really care about. That's where I really get a kick out of. When you make so many videos all the time, you do make missteps here and there, and sometimes it doesn't work. Clearly, it's bound to happen. But yeah, you know, obviously, if anyone feels hurt, I genuinely feel sorry, and I don't want people to feel that way.
Like, one of the other things I thought was really interesting was that when you started your company Revel Mode, one of the core 3 things besides creation of games and content was that you wanted to do charity initiatives. Is this something that's always been important to you, or is it something that has grown with the amount of influence that you have?
It's not always been important to me. I didn't really think about it much at all until there was this competition, King of the Web, which you would get like $7,000 or something, $7,500 if you were voted number one. Which $7,500, that's a lot of money. And to win that kind of money from your audience, a lot of people did that, and it was really cool. So I was like, maybe I should give it a go. But it felt greedy in a way, to use your audience to get more money. Like, clearly, if you have an audience that is big enough to make you win, you have enough that you don't need that money. So it just seemed kind of greedy, and I thought, well, can I turn this around in a way? And I thought, okay, well, what if I do it for a charity? So I looked into some charities, and I thought, okay, well, this is a good cause. We'll do it to save the tigers or whatever.
Yeah.
Tigers are getting extinct. So why don't we do that? And it became like this really positive thing. Fans got even more engaged because it was charity. And it just turned this thing that might seem a little greedy into something really, really positive for the community. And I thought, this is really cool. I would love to do more of this. And that was pretty early in my YouTube career. And I was like, I want to do more of this. This is really cool.
Do you think that YouTubers do enough for charity and for issues?
I think you can't say that. No. It's up to each one what you want to do. It shouldn't be like you have to do it. I think that's the wrong approach. If you have something that you care about and you have the audience, I think it's a great opportunity to use that for good. And I think a lot of YouTubers do so much for charity, more than I've seen in a lot of other communities. And I think it's really cool to see all the engagement. I think enough, well, I don't know what's enough, but they definitely do a lot. Yeah.
Do you ever watch TV?
I don't have a TV license. They keep mailing me this, you want to pay us, right? I'm like, no, I don't need it.
So if YouTube had never been created,
Yeah.
what do you think your path would have been?
Whew, that's hard. I don't know. If YouTube never was created, it's funny looking back, because I almost got a job at an advertising agency, the biggest one in Sweden, as an I don't know what the term is, but like low down, but it was a huge opportunity. It was between one guy and another, and I didn't get the job, and it was soul crushing, because I was like, this could have been my way out to do something creative, and I loved Photoshop. But then I was lucky enough that I got YouTube. I don't know where I would have ended up. I do remember, like, when you're at the age where you haven't really figured out what you're gonna do with your life, it's a really tough time, I think, not knowing what you want to do. And I remember how unhappy I was compared to now. So I definitely wouldn't have been as happy, at least.
And like, what would you say to creators that are starting out now?
It depends what they want, I guess. If you're starting off YouTube now, I would say the same thing I said back then, which is like, you need to find your own thing, I think. I find that I'm always drawn to YouTubers that do a different thing. It might not be your, and I understand, I remember that frustration of feeling like you have more to give, because it took a long time for me to get bigger on YouTube. Like, I did it for a year and not a lot of people cared. And I remember I felt like I had so much to give, like, I can do this, I know I can, and that frustration was killing me. So I guess I would say that to them, like, you just stay committed, try and find your own voice, and hopefully you'll be lucky.
Does the channel that is going to knock you off number one exist today?
That's a good question. I guess I don't think anyone is ever gonna beat me.